Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We're still marching on with the sandpiper. We had put some coats on the beak on the last video and on the head and in the wings here and some of the mantle here. And we kept off the breast, okay? So I hope you did all that. We did about like 2 coats, and what we're going to do is we're going to build off of this now, and I'm going to show you. We're going to sort of get this a little darker, and then we're going to start doing detailing within the feathers itself. So you're going to need a good wash brush, something maybe a 6 or 8, even a 12-inch brush, not 12-inch, number 12 brush, okay, or like I said, 6 or 8, anything that'll hold a good amount of water and you can move it, okay. This makes for a nice wash brush, the bigger the better sometime like this. And even if you have square brushes, because a lot of people have those, these work out very well too. These are squared up, but they'll work as well. And then we get into the real finer brushes, which, let me see. I have my favorite here that I'm trying to find out, and I didn't put it off to the side right away. Here it is. I will find it, but anyway, you want to get something that's smaller and goes right into a point. The point is the important thing, and I'll find my brush out. If you have something, you can get down to a 1 or a 2, but I have one that's a number 3, and it really goes right into a point, and I really love that one. And I will find that before we start painting anyway. It may be right in front of me for all I know it. But anyway, we are going to start with a wash, and I'm going to show you how to do that, similar to what we just did. Okay, we're almost going over the same area that we did with the with the raw sienna. Okay, and we're going to do a build-up. Then we're going to dry it. We'll see how that looks. And then we're going to start putting markings within the feathering we have, okay? And in some cases, even some of the burn that we had in there, we're going to sort of heavy that up a little bit too. And I'll show you how to do that as well. And we'll dirty up the beak. We'll see how far we get, okay? I'm not trying to overload you all in one, but I'm really trying to concentrate on the colors we're using. We used raw sienna, and we did the beak, and we did that on the heavy side, okay? And that we wanted to get a heavy concentration on of sorts, not like a cream color, so it paints it almost in one coat. Not that you did it in one coat, we did a couple coats. But back in here, these are watered down, as you noticed on the last video. We're basically going to be doing a wash initially on top of this now with it's burnt umber, okay? And I will show you how to do that. And we'll go from a heavy, let me take that back. We will go to a light and then go to a heavy, and I'll show you how to do all that. And just bear with me on this. I know not everybody's a painter, but if you follow my steps, I'll get you pretty close, okay? And and if you do play around with paints, that's great, because you can even, ad-lib yourself a little bit in here. This is my way of doing it, and I paint. I do a lot of flat art work as well, besides the birds and what have you, and painting carvings and the whole bit. I do a lot of wood burning and then do acrylic paints like watercolors on top of it. And it really comes out kind of neat. I'll have to do a video on that, and I'll show you how we go about doing that. And then we'll get you rolling on that, showing you something different, just to get away from the carving end. If you want to take a break, and I like to diversify. I was speaking to a lady not the other day, and we seemed to go down the same road. We collected rocks and everything else, and that's things that I had an interest in, and it just grows. And when we had similar interest, I should say, and it's kind of fun to hear other people doing similar things that I do, but you get basket making and everything else. I like to try a little bit of everything. So I'm rambling on here, but just wanted to let you know that on the painting end of it, it's my way of doing it. But if you know colors and you know how to mix things, you can get some neat effects yourself. And hey, and I don't doubt that there's many of you out there that are very creative and really good at this. So bear with me on my way of doing it, but there can be other ways of doing it too. So, and as I always say to you, if you have somebody that's really good that's nearby you, I'm just the tip of the iceberg as far as getting you off the ground. But I like to do realism and get it as authentic as I could get, with a look that we're saying it's alive. And if there's other people that are really good around you, hey, learn from them too. I'm not the end all here, but I definitely will get you started. The other thing I want to say too is the same way that I always go is if you like the video, I would appreciate if you'd give me a thumbs up, and if you could subscribe to my channel, or if you have a friend or somebody that may be interested and want to try this, to put them onto my channel, because it helps on my count, on YouTube and so on. And I appreciate that. And most of the stuff that I use, like if you need paints or brushes or paint trays, I have moss I sell. It's like reindeer moss, it's called. I also have stuff for snow if you're trying to do a winter scene with a bird. It's real neat stuff. And maybe one of these days, maybe in the future here, I'll try doing something where we do like a snow scene or something like that, and I'll show you how we accomplish that. And then so I'm going to try to give you a little bit of everything so that you can add that into whatever you're making, because you just don't want to do the same old. And I'm trying to get you to see different ways of putting your product out there, and I think they look neat when you get done, but that's up to you. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, if you could support me within the channel here, I'd appreciate that. That's very helpful too. So we're going to move on, and we'll start some washes, and I'll bring the camera down so you can see, and appreciate your interest. So bear with me. Okay, now we're going to get, again, I'm using Liquitex. I like it. I've been using it forever, but that doesn't say you have to, okay? Any acrylic paint will do. And whatever you have, that's good. I've never got into the oil end of it as far as using oils on a bird, but I have some students that have tried it, and they use it very transparent like. They like it. Some people like to just stain with that. Okay, I strictly go with the acrylic. paint. And the thing is, on this is we're going to do first the wash of this. This is burnt umber, okay? And I'm going to use maybe about a pea size in a cup with water. And I'm going to move certain amounts in each cup, because this is similar to what I did before. And this is one I was telling you about. You have a couple of ways of preserving your paint. Say you get tired and you're painting in the middle of something and it's just tedious and it's going to be too much for you. You can throw saran wrap over here. Sometimes I get a second tray and lay this over here. As long as you can keep the air out of here. You can see what happened. This thing dried out, but this one had plenty of moisture, so it still hung in there. You could put a couple drops before you put the cover on, or a saran wrap, and you could keep this for a day or two and just stir it every time when you want to go use it. So don't just throw your paints away all the time. You can preserve these, okay? And in some cases, I don't think I have them. Yes, I do. I have paint trays like this that you can get from me. And this works like this. This pops off, and this is an oversized paint tray. Let me see if I can get this off now. Famous last words. This isn't usually that hard. Here we go. I'm going to separate these. I think this has been... See if I can get this apart. Bear with me a second here. There we go. This is a plastic cover that goes over our paint tray like this. So you could have all your paints in there at one time. Not that I would suggest that, but in case you're doing a lot of mixing and then you got an area where you can blend it to in the middle. And then say at the end of the day, I would go around with a eyedropper and put a drop of water on top of it. Not a lot, just a drop I'm talking about. And then cover it, okay? This will seal it up. And then you just pop it off for the next day and you can go again. So if you need any of these, I have this available to you. And this is very handy when it comes to painting. So don't feel as though you're lost on things here as far as throwing paints away, you know. I usually buy big tubes because I was teaching classes, you know, 4 classes a week. You tend to use a lot of paint, okay? And a lot of times I just threw it away. But if you're at home, you want to salvage what you got and use it again, or we're getting so tedious on what we're trying to accomplish, and you don't want to get it done all in one day, you just put the cover on it. Same way with these trays, you can do it with the tray too. Just put a saran wrap over it, and it will preserve it for at least a day or two, and you can come back to it. So here we go. I'm going to get, again, and it can be any burnt umber, okay? So don't feel as though you're locked in here. Now, I'm going to put about a pea size, okay, or close to that. I say that as a figure of speech, but it really is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a wash. Now, on this, I'll put just a little bit of water, okay? Not a lot. Now, over here, I'm going to put probably about half a cup of water. Now, I'm going to get some of this. I'm going to try to mix this in here. Maybe I even put a little too much water in there, but that's fine. And I'm doing different mixes similar to what I did here. This was a heavy mix that we did for the beak. This is on the raw sienna. And this is the watered down one, which was the wash, which we put all over the body. So we're going to do a combination here. I'm trying to get you to use the colors that we're going to use the most here, and we're going to build on both of these. And then I'll show you how we actually paint this. So I have a lot of heavy paint on here, and I come into the one that has about maybe half, maybe a little bit more than a half. And I'm mixing that up. I'm actually going to get a little bit more, but I'm leaving most of the heavy paint in this tray here. And it has the water in it, and I'm mixing this. Now, I want to get this dissolved because I'm trying to make this the wash. And it's looks like most of it's dissolved. So I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Sometimes you got to play the game to get the right mix. Doesn't always happen. So, but sometimes you come up with different effects, and that's another thing that works for you, and sometimes it can work against you, making the right mix. So I try to use a paper towel, to use a stain that gets you to see how dense the color is. Okay, so I got this one pretty well watered down, and I try to take most of the paint out so that when I dab this, you can see how dark it is, okay? And if it's too dark, then for a wash, I want to lighten it up. Okay, so I would add more water. But I'm going to go with what we have right now. And here's what I'm going to do. Most of the area that you see here that we gave this raw sienna wash, I'm going to do this burnt umber wash on top of this, okay? But when it gets close to the edges here, I'm going to try to back it off so I don't come right up to the edge. Now, right in this area here, where the breast feathers lay on, I want you right up to that white feather, not on the feather. If you get it on there, don't worry about it because we can always come back and paint it white again. Okay, that's the beauty part about acrylics. You can go right over itself, okay? So, but I try to keep it as good as you can. We're going to come down over the same area. So I'm going to stir this up again each time I take the excess off. And then, you can dab it if it seems like it's runny. So here we go. Again, what you don't see, me and my eyeballs need magnification. So I use my magnifier. So I'm going to come in here, and I don't want to linger. So I'm going to come right on up to where the beak is without trying to go onto the beak if I could possibly help it. And I don't want to get right down. I'm trying to leave a little gap of the white to the raw sienna. And then here comes the burnt umber, just short of getting right up to it. I'm going to go right into the eye, charge my brush up again because this doesn't go too far. And then I don't want it runny as all heck. So I'm putting this on. This will darken a little bit more. Okay. And I'm going to come in here. And you don't want it, you can see it sort of shades it a little bit. Now, in here, I'm going to come in, but I'm watching my boundaries here. I don't want to go right up to, I want to still see some of the raw sienna hanging out there. So I'm not going right up to it. Charge my brush up again, and I'm trying to move as much as I can so that I get a nice even coat. Hope you can see this well. Okay. Now, I'm going to come over here. Always try to twist my brush to get the point and stuff like that, even when I'm doing a wash. Now I'm coming down into here, but I don't want to get all the way to the X end. And excuse me, because this is a darker color, I don't want any real edges. If it seems like this is too dark, you can always rinse your brush out, dab off the excess water, and then come back in. And like, say this was heavy right in here, okay, like that, and you can see an actual line. Here's what you do. You rinse your brush out. You just took all the paint out. And then you come back right into this area, and you just touch it lightly. And it'll pick up the paint you put on like an eraser, and then you could dab that out, and you could go back and do that again, or you can just keep on moving. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to move. Now, I don't want to see any hard edges, so if it looks like it's building, you can always move the paints more. Now, in this area right in here, I definitely want to come right up to the white, but not on the white. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and trying to get a nice even coat. I start up front here, and I maneuver back. Now, for me, you know, I have that other device, this here, that you can hold the piece in. I like to keep my hands on my piece, so for the good and bad, that's just the way I like to operate. But you can use that device to hold this, and that comes in very handy. Now, I'm trying to, you can see, this is getting a little darker, and this is the side we haven't touched yet. So it's very faint, but it's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're coming down here. I'm just doing half of this so you can see what's happening. So you can see how it's starting to shadow up a little bit, is what I call it. And I'm going to come in here. Now, see, that seems to be heavier, so I should have stirred that up a little bit, dab that out, and then I'll move it. Every once in a while, when we make mixes with water, you want to stir it, okay, because it tends to not set up, but thicken out, and you want to, what's the name? Make sure it's all mixed in. So every once in a while, you want to just get your brush, sort of mix it again so it's well mixed. Now, like I said, right around these white feathers, I want to get right up to them. I do definitely want to see a line, you know, not a line, but definitely the white feather is going to jump, and this is going to go back into the bird and get darker. Okay, and but we're at some time we're actually going to dirty up the white too, because the birds are somewhat bright, but they're not that bright. And I'll show you that trick too down the road. So we basically got that. Now I'm going to do the top feathers and underneath here with a wash. So I'm taking the excess off, coming in here so I don't have any runny water or washes that go all over the place. I just want you to control this and still wash this area out. Now you're not doing the bottom, you're just doing the top, okay, on the tail. So there we are. We got one coat, and I'm trying not to put my finger on what we just washed, because your fingers will pull that moisture up and you'll have a bare spot. So you got to keep your hands off of there. So this device right here sometime is helpful. And you can make one of these by driving a screw, you know, in reverse into the piece, or have a stick with screw heads glued on, and and then drill it in. Or you can buy these at the hardware store. They're not that expensive. They're a few bucks. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to aim away from my brush, and I'm going to aim away from my paint, and I'm going to hit this wash. It shouldn't take that long to dry because it's a thin wash, you know, and we didn't soak it to death. So the hair dryer will get you there in less, maybe 30 seconds. We're dry, okay? So let me just hit this a little bit more, and I think we're good, okay? Now, I'm going to go back to that same mix here, which is a wash, taking the excess off. Now, on this one, I'm going to come up to the beak on the second coat and